5 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. The Minister of Education Susil Premajan says 26,000 graduate teachers will be recruited as teachers this year to fill the existing vacancies. The Energy Minister says a charge sheet is drafted to remove the PUCSL chairman. Sri Lanka seeks to boost ties with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf nations. More than 80,000 tourists arrived in the island during the last 25 days of this month. The government decides to establish 50 regional centres island-wide to distribute passports to the citizens of this country. In news overseas, Ukrainian war, Russian athletes cannot be allowed at the Olympics, Zelensky says. In sports news, the Royal Tomian annual cricket encounter will be held from the 16th to the 18th of March. The Department of Government Information says that the Gazette notification to commence the local government election process with the signatures of the chairman and the other members of the Election Commission has still not been sent to the government printer for publication. However, the dates have been fixed to hold the 2023 local government election on the 9th of March. The Election Commission states that there is no such requirement for the members of the Election Commission to send a Gazette notification to be published regarding the local government election process. The Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, says that a charge sheet has been drafted and legal measures will be taken by the government to remove the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, Janaka Ratnayaka. Joining a special media briefing, the minister pointed out that all the parliamentary representatives of the ruling party have expressed their agreement for the matter. Minister Wijesekara also alleged that Mr. Janaka Ratnayaka has carried out all the activities and decisions based on his sole opinion and not as the PUCSL. Quote, Janaka Ratnayaka has been leaning the whole country against the wall. He is the one who is responsible for these power interruptions, unquote, the minister charged. Minister Wijesekara further alleged that Janaka Ratnayaka has put the entire people of the country in trouble by misleading the other officials of the PUCSL and by carrying out activities without their approval. The Sri Lankan Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri has held talks with ministers and senior officials in Saudi Arabia as the crisis-hit island nation seeks to boost cooperation with the kingdom and other Gulf countries. Sabri met with his Saudi counterpart Prince Faisal bin Farhan, the Secretary-General of Organization of Islamic Cooperation Hissan Brahim Taha, the Secretary-General of the Gulf Cooperation Council Naif Fala M. Al-Hajraf, and the CEO of the Saudi Fund for Development Sultan Al-Marshad, as well as officials from the Islamic Development Bank. Sabri said that his visit to the kingdom was successful and that it will further cement and strengthen the bilateral relationship between our two countries as we see a lot of positive vibes that have been infused into our relations. Talks between the two foreign ministers covered enhancement of bilateral relations, increased investment with Sri Lanka as a gateway to South Asia, and employment for Sri Lankans in the kingdom. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. More than 80,000 tourists arrived in the island during the last 25 days of this month. Minister Harin Fernando says there is a rapid increase in the arrivals of the tourists with the onset of the winter season in the European countries. More tourists have been recorded from Russia. The minister further said the main goal is to achieve 150,000 tourists for a month. The Agriculture Department says 3,207 kilograms of harvest of paddy have been recorded during the Yalla season of 2022. The cultivation has been carried out in more than 500,000 hectares of land with the support of urea fertilizer distribution on time. The government decides to establish 50 regional centres island-wide to distribute passports to the citizens of this country. The main offices are established in Vavuniya, Kurunegala, Matara and Kandy. Furthermore, offices of this nature will be established at Grama Sevaka Nidadari areas as well. The main objective of this exercise is to ease the workload and make this service available at the nearest office for the benefit of the common masses. A total of 285 suspects have been arrested during a 7-hour joint operation carried out by the Police Special Task Force, the police, the army and the Air Force in the western and the southern provinces. A cache of narcotics has also been seized, including 1 kilogram of heroin and 1 kilogram of cannabis during the operation carried out at several locations in the two provinces. Police spokesman SSP Nihal Taldua said the operation was launched according to a strategy planned a few weeks ago and that the Air Force, the police STF and the Sri Lanka Army were also involved. It is reported that there are several identified drug traffickers among the arrested suspects.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Minister of Education, Susil Premajan, says 26,000 graduate teachers will be recruited as teachers this year to fill the existing vacancies. Accordingly, the development officers recruited in the year 2018, 2019 and 2020 will be considered for these positions. Furthermore, graduate trainees will also be considered for this purpose, the Minister added.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight, a special traffic plan will be implemented in several areas of Colombo during the rehearsals of the 75th National Independence Day. This traffic plan is in effect from the 1st to the 3rd of February. According to the police, traffic will be restricted on several roads from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. The police inform that some roads will be closed and requests the motorists to use alternative routes. Accordingly, entry from the Golface Centre Road, the Golface Roundabout to the NSA Roundabout and the Chaitya Road area, and from Kolupitia Junction towards Golface Road Roundabout and the Kolupitia railway station are restricted. However, the traffic police officers on duty have been instructed to allow students and residents of these roads to travel without obstruction during the relevant hours on the days when this special traffic plan is in effect.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines, Tynicle's lawyer urges lawmakers to pass urgent police reforms. Ukraine war, Russian athletes cannot be allowed at the Olympics, Zelensky says. German Chancellor says he won't send fighter jets to Ukraine. The lawyer representing Tynicle's family has called on the US Congress to pass urgent police reform legislation in the wake of his death. Mr. Nichols, 29, was fatally beaten by 5 police officers in January. Speaking to US media, Ben Crump urged President Joe Biden to use Mr. Nichols' death to gain support for the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. And he said Ms. Nichols' mother was coping with her son's loss by hoping that his death could lead to change. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that allowing Russia to compete at the 2024 Olympics in Paris would amount to showing that terror is somehow acceptable. He said he had raised the issue with the French President Emmanuel Macron. Moscow must not be allowed to use the Olympics for propaganda, he added. The German Chancellor has ruled out sending fighter jets to Ukraine just days after committing to supplying tanks. In an interview with the German newspaper, Olaf Scholz warned against a bidding war for weapons. But Ukraine has asked allied nations to create a fighter jet coalition to bolster their capabilities. And now the main points of the World News segment once again. Tynicle's lawyer urges lawmakers to pass urgent police reforms. Ukrainian war, Russian athletes cannot be allowed at the Olympics, Zelensky says. The German Chancellor says he won't send fighter jets to Ukraine. That was World News.
Development News.
The government has taken a policy decision to settle the outstanding payments due to the construction industry from the capital allocations of 2023, which is approximately 350 billion rupees. Engineer Nisanka N. Vijayaratne, the Secretary General, CEO of the Chamber of Construction Industry CCI, told the Build SL exhibition launching event ceremony held in Colombo recently. The outstanding payment towards the industry stood at 200 billion rupees, but with a few payments it has come down to about 175 billion rupees, and they have begun to settle the outstanding payments as and when the money becomes available to the ministry. Following an earlier decision, the government settled some of the payments with bonds of the tenure of 2.5 years and 22.5 interest rates, he said.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The Royal Thurman annual cricket encounter will be held from the 16th to the 18th of March. The 142nd and 143rd Battle of the Blues were played behind closed doors with the objective of being socially responsible. Both encounters were keenly contested and ended as a draw, keeping the unbroken tradition alive.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship
new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The first charter flight for the year from Uzbekistan landed on Friday at the Matalat Rajapaksa International Airport with more than 200 holidaymakers. Uzbekistan Airways will operate weekly flights and will continue to the end of March 2023. Aik & Spence Travels, which coordinated this airline, was also instrumental in bringing the first charter last year from this source market that was a new market for Sri Lanka. The Uzbekistani charter operation is partnered with the leading tour operator in Uzbekistan. Aik & Spence Travels. Visitors arriving in Sri Lanka will be patronizing and staying in 4- and 5-star hotel accommodation options starting from Kalutara, going up deep down to the south.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship ekamenna.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Economic news, courtesy of... For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first. And this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC. Imagine the possibilities.
At a special meeting held under the chairmanship of the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripal de Silva, to review the construction work of 2 major projects in the Colombo Port, the East Container Terminal ECT and the Jaya Container Terminal Phase 5 JCT5 projects at the Ministry Auditorium, the Minister instructed officials of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority to remove the obstacles to the construction of 2 terminals within the specified time frame and provide the same facilities to the contractors.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Weather report.
The Met Department says the well-marked low-pressure area over the southeast Bay of Bengal is likely to move west-northwestwards towards the eastern coast of Sri Lanka on the 1st of February. Rainy conditions over the island will be increased due to its effect from today. In the evening, especially showers of thundershowers will occur at times in the northern, eastern, over, north central and central provinces. Very heavy showers above 150 millimeters are likely at some places. Showers of thundershowers will occur at several places in the island during the afternoon or night. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. This weather forecast was issued at 4:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The Minister of Education, Susil Premajan, says 26,000 graduate teachers will be recruited as teachers this year to fill the existing vacancies. The Energy Minister says the charge sheet is drafted to remove the PUCSL chairman. Sri Lanka seeks to boost ties with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf nations. More than 80,000 tourists arrived in the island during the last 25 days of this month. The government decides to establish 50 regional centres island-wide to distribute passports to the citizens of this country. In news overseas, Ukrainian war, Russian athletes cannot be allowed at the Olympics, Zelensky says. In sports news, the Royal Termian annual cricket encounter will be held from the 16th to the 18th of March.